Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the U.S. Harmony, watching the stars through the main viewport. His hands rested on the smooth metal railing as he looked ahead into deep space. The ship hummed quietly around him, carrying 300 souls toward what everyone hoped would be humanity's greatest moment. "Sir, we're 15 minutes from the meeting point," said Lieutenant Alex Carter from his station. The young officer had been nervous for days, checking his instruments over and over again. Jake nodded. "Thank you, Lieutenant. Any changes in the alien signals?" "No, sir. Still the same peaceful patterns we've been receiving for months." Behind them, Dr. Lisa Park worked at her computer, studying the alien language they had been trying to understand. Her dark hair fell across her face as she concentrated on the strange symbols flowing across her screen. She had spent 2 years learning to speak with beings they had never seen. "Doctor, any new developments?" Jake asked. Lisa looked up and smiled. "The messages are definitely friendly, Captain. They keep using words that translate to harmony and sharing. I think they really do want to be friends." Ambassador Robert. Kane walked onto the bridge wearing his best diplomatic uniform. The older man had negotiated peace between human colonies for 20 years. Today would be his biggest challenge yet. "Captain Morrison, is everything ready for first contact?" Kane asked. "Yes, sir. All diplomatic protocols are in place. Commander Helen Ross has our escort ships in formation, just as Earth Command ordered." Through the viewport, Jake could see the other 2 ships in their small fleet. The UES Concord and UES Unity flew beside them, their hulls gleaming in the starlight. They were not warships, just peaceful vessels with light weapons for protection against space pirates. "I still think we should have brought more firepower," Alex said quietly. Ambassador Kane frowned. "Lieutenant, we are here to make friends, not to threaten anyone. The aliens have shown no hostile intentions. But, sir, we don't really know anything about them. What if—" "That's enough," Jake said firmly. "We follow our orders. This is a peace mission." Alex fell silent, but Jake could see the worry in the young man's eyes. The lieutenant had been asking the same questions for weeks. What if the aliens were not as friendly as they seemed? What if this was all a mistake? Jake pushed those thoughts away. Earth needed this. After decades of expansion into space, humanity had finally found another intelligent species. The scientists were excited. The politicians saw opportunities for trade and cooperation. Everyone wanted this to work. "Captain, I'm detecting massive energy signatures ahead," Alex reported suddenly. Jake moved to look at the tactical display. Strange readings appeared on the screen, unlike anything they had seen before. "What are we looking at, Lieutenant?" "Unknown, sir. The energy levels are incredible. Whatever's out there is much bigger than our ships." Dr. Lisa joined them at the display. "This matches the power signatures in their transmissions. I think they're here." Space itself seemed to bend and twist ahead of them. Reality folded like paper, and then the alien ships appeared. Jake felt his breath catch in his throat. The Zephyrian vessels were beautiful beyond description. They looked like living crystals, shaped into elegant curves that seemed to flow like water. Each ship pulsed with soft blue light from within, as if they had captured stars and held them in crystal cages. "My God," whispered Ambassador Kane. "They're magnificent." There were 12 alien ships, each one twice the size of the UES Harmony. They moved with grace that made human vessels look clumsy by comparison. The largest ship positioned itself directly ahead of them, its crystal surface reflecting the light of distant stars. "Sir, I'm receiving a transmission," said the communications. "Officer, put it through," Jake ordered. The bridge speakers crackled, and then a voice spoke in perfectly clear English. The tone was musical, almost like singing. "Greetings, humans of Earth. We are the Zephyrian Collective. We welcome you to this place of meeting." Ambassador Kane stepped forward. "This is Ambassador Robert Kane of the United Earth Council. We are honored to meet you." "The honor is shared, Ambassador Kane. We have studied your transmissions with great interest. Your species shows much promise." Jake noticed something in the alien's words that made him uneasy, but he could not say what it was. "We have prepared a meeting place," the alien voice continued. A neutral station where our peoples may learn from each other. On the main screen, they watched as the alien ships began to construct something in the empty space between the two fleets. Energy beams reached out from multiple vessels, weaving together matter and light into a complex structure. Within minutes, a complete space station floated before them. Incredible, Dr. Lisa breathed. The technology required for that kind of construction. Ambassador Kane was already planning. Captain, prepare a shuttle. We'll take a small diplomatic team over. Immediately. Sir, shouldn't we scan the station first? Alex asked. Run some security checks? Lieutenant Carter, we are guests here, Kane replied. We will not insult our hosts by treating them like enemies. Jake understood the ambassador's position, but he also trusted his tactical officer's instincts. Alex, run passive scans only, nothing that could be seen as aggressive. Yes, sir. As Alex worked at his station, Jake watched the alien ships. They maintained perfect formation, their crystal hulls pulsing in synchronized patterns. Everything about them suggested advanced technology and careful planning. Captain, the scans are strange, Alex reported quietly. What do you mean? The energy readings from their ships don't match what I'd expect from peaceful vessels. There are weapon signatures hidden beneath all that beauty. Weapons for defense, surely, Ambassador Kane said. Any spacefaring species would need protection. Alex nodded, but Jake could see he was not convinced. The lieutenant continued his scans, making notes on a separate datapad. Humans of Earth, the alien voice spoke again. We invite you to join us on the meeting station. Let us begin the sharing of knowledge between our peoples. Ambassador Kane straightened his uniform. This is it, everyone. First contact between humanity and an alien civilization. Let's make history. As the shuttle bay prepared their transport, Jake felt a mix of excitement and concern. They were about to step into the unknown, representing all of humanity in this first meeting with another intelligent species. He looked around the bridge at his crew. Dr. Lisa packed her translation equipment with careful hands. Ambassador Kane reviewed his notes one final time. Commander Helen Ross checked in with the escort ships. Lieutenant Alex Carter continued his quiet scans, his face troubled. Outside the viewport, the crystal ships waited in perfect formation, their inner light pulsing like slow heartbeats, beautiful, advanced, and mysterious. Jake hoped they were making the right choice. The alien space station was unlike anything humans had ever built. Dr. Lisa Park walked through corridors that seemed to grow from living crystal, their walls pulsing with the same soft blue light as the Zephyrian ships. The air tasted clean, and somehow sweet, filled with a gentle humming that seemed to come from the station itself. This is incredible, she whispered to Ambassador Kane as they followed their alien guide. The architecture appears to be grown rather than constructed, the I, being that led them called itself Harmony Singer. It stood nearly 8 feet tall with a body that looked like it was carved from pale blue crystal. Where a human would have a face, shifting patterns of light moved beneath its translucent surface. When it spoke, musical tones filled the air. Your language is most interesting, Dr. Park. We have studied your transmissions for many cycles, learning the beauty of human expression. Ambassador Kane smiled warmly. We are eager to learn about your culture as well. Perhaps we can establish regular exchanges between our peoples. Indeed. Exchange is the foundation of growth. They entered a large chamber where other Zephyrians waited. The room was filled with displays showing human art, music, and scientific achievements. Images of Earth cities, its blue oceans and green forests rotated slowly in the air above crystal pedestals. You have prepared extensively, Kane observed. We believe in thorough understanding, Harmony Singer replied. Your species shows remarkable creativity and adaptability. Over the next 3 days, the cultural exchange proceeded smoothly. Dr. Lisa worked with Zephyrian linguists, sharing the complexities of human language while learning their musical communication system. She discovered that they thought in harmonies, building ideas like symphonies. Ambassador Kane spent hours discussing human history and philosophy with alien scholars. They seemed particularly interested in human expansion into space, asking detailed questions about colony worlds and resource distribution. Captain Jake Morrison and Commander Helen Ross were given tours of Zephyrian defensive systems. Their guide, a being called Shieldkeeper, showed them energy barriers that could stop asteroids and weapon arrays that could vaporize space debris. Most impressive, Commander Ross said as they observed a demonstration. These systems must protect your ships from all kinds of dangers. Protection is essential for survival, Shieldkeeper agreed. The universe contains many threats. Lieutenant Alex Carter accompanied them on these tours, taking careful notes. He watched everything with the sharp eyes of a tactical officer, memorizing weapon placements and energy signatures. Something about the aliens' defensive systems bothered him, but he could not put his finger on what it was. On the fourth day, Ambassador Kane prepared for the signing of a formal peace treaty. The document had been carefully crafted over months of long-distance communication. It established trade agreements, cultural exchange programs, and mutual defense pacts between Earth and the Zephyrian Collective. This is a historic moment, Kane told his team as they gathered in the station's main ceremony chamber. We're about to officially welcome humanity into the galactic community. Dr. Lisa felt excited but also nervous. I've double-checked all the translations. Everything appears correct, but their language is so complex. You've done excellent work, Doctor, Kane assured her. Captain Morrison stood with his officers near the back of the chamber. Alex Carter held a small scanner, continuing his discreet monitoring of alien technology. The readings still troubled him. Captain, Alex whispered, I'm detecting energy buildups in their ships. It looks like they're charging weapon systems. Jake frowned. Are you certain? The signatures match combat preparation patterns from our own vessels. Maybe it's just routine maintenance, Commander Ross suggested quietly. The ceremony began with Harmony Singer floating to the center of the chamber. Other Zephyrians surrounded them, their bodies pulsing in synchronized patterns that created beautiful music. Beings of Earth, Harmony Singer began. We gather to formalize the relationship between our species. Ambassador Kane stepped forward, holding the treaty documents. It is our honor to sign this agreement of peace and cooperation. Peace, Harmony Singer repeated, and something in its tone made Dr. Lisa look up sharply. Yes, peace between our peoples, Kane confirmed. We have studied your concept of peace extensively, Ambassador Kane. We find it limiting. The musical quality in Harmony Singer's voice changed, becoming colder and more mechanical. I'm sorry. I don't understand, Kane said. Your species occupies 17 star systems that contain minerals essential to our technology. These resources are required for our continued expansion. Dr. Lisa felt her stomach drop. The translation was clear, but the meaning was impossible to accept. Are you suggesting some kind of mining partnership? Kane asked carefully. We are informing you of relocation requirements. Your colonies will be moved to less valuable systems. This process will begin immediately. The chamber fell silent except for the humming of the station. Ambassador Kane stared at the alien being, trying to process what he had just heard. That's completely unacceptable. These are our homes, our worlds. Your attachment to specific locations is understood but irrelevant. The transition will proceed with or without your cooperation. Captain Morrison stepped forward. Are you threatening us? We do not threaten. We simply state facts. Your species will relocate, or your species will be relocated. Alex Carter's scanner began beeping urgently. Captain, massive energy spikes from all their ships. Weapons are charging to full power. This was never about peace, was it? Dr. Lisa said, her voice barely above a whisper. Peace is inefficient, Harmony Singer replied. Your transmissions, your cultural exchanges, your friendship, all provided valuable intelligence about your military capabilities and population centers. Ambassador Kane's face went white. You've been studying us to plan an invasion. We prefer the term resource optimization. Your species has served its purpose. Alarms began blaring throughout the station. Through the crystal walls, they could see the Zephyrian ships moving into attack formation. All human personnel, return to your vessels immediately, Captain Morrison ordered into his communicator. Too late, Harmony Singer said. Your ships are already targeted. The first explosions lit up space beyond the station walls. The UES Concord erupted in flames as alien energy beams tore through its hull. The UES Unity tried to run, but crystalline fighters swarmed around it like angry insects. No, Ambassador Kane shouted, rushing toward the alien being. Those are innocent people. Shield Keeper moved to block him, its crystal body becoming solid and threatening. Dr. Lisa grabbed her equipment and ran toward the docking bay where their shuttle waited. We have to warn Earth. Captain Morrison and his officers fought their way through confused crowds of humans and aliens. Alex Carter worked frantically to transmit tactical data about the alien weapons back to the UES Harmony. Got it, he shouted, sending everything we've learned about their ships and weapons. They reached their shuttle just as the station shook from another explosion. Through the viewport, they saw the UES Unity break apart, its pieces spinning slowly into the dark. Move, 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 Morrison yelled as they piled into the shuttle. The small craft launched from the station as alien fighters closed in. Energy bolts flashed around them, but somehow their pilot managed to reach the UES Harmony. Emergency jump, Morrison ordered, as soon as they were aboard. Get us out of here. Space twisted around them as the ship entered hyperspace. Behind them, the alien fleet began moving toward human space, toward Earth. Ambassador Kane sat in his cabin, staring at the unused peace treaty. Dr. Lisa worked frantically to decode emergency transmissions from human colonies, reports of attacks, cries for help, and then silence. Captain Morrison stood on the bridge watching the stars stream past. In a single day, humanity's dream of peaceful contact had become their worst nightmare. Set course for Earth, he ordered quietly, and prepare for war. The emergency sirens wailed across Earth's orbital stations as the UES Harmony dropped out of hyperspace. Captain Jake Morrison had never heard anything so terrifying as the silence that followed each distress call from the outer colonies. Admiral Patricia Stone met them at Luna Base, her face grim as she reviewed Alex Carter's tactical reports. The older woman had commanded Earth's defense fleet for 10 years, but nothing had prepared her for this. How many colonies have we lost? Jake asked. New Dakota is gone, completely glassed from orbit. Proxima Station stopped transmitting 6 hours ago. Haven's Rest. She paused, checking her datapad. Haven's Rest is still broadcasting, but they're under attack. Dr. Lisa Park worked frantically at a communication station, trying to decode intercepted alien transmissions. Her hands shook as she translated the cold, efficient reports between Zephyrian ships. They're not just attacking military targets, she said, her voice breaking. They're destroying everything. Farms, schools, hospitals. They're trying to wipe us out completely. Ambassador Kane sat in a corner staring at nothing. The peace treaty he had worked so hard to create lay crumpled on the floor beside him. 300 people had died on the UES Concord and UES Unity because he had trusted the aliens. Sir, a communication officer called out. We're receiving a transmission from Haven's Rest. It's bad. Admiral Stone nodded grimly. Put it through. The main screen flickered to life, showing a man covered in dirt and blood. Behind him, buildings burned against a darkening sky. This is Engineer Tony Blake on Haven's Rest. If anyone can hear this, please listen. The aliens aren't taking prisoners. They're killing everyone they find. Men, women, children, it doesn't matter. The image shook as explosions echoed in the background. They're not human, Tony continued. They don't understand mercy or surrender. They're just cleaning us out like we're insects. A child's scream could be heard somewhere behind him. Tell Earth to fight. Don't try to negotiate with them. Don't try to surrender. They'll kill you anyway. Fight with everything you have because the transmission cut to static. The command center fell silent. Several officers stared at their screens, unable to process what they had just witnessed. President Claire Martinez's voice came through the speakers from Earth. Admiral Stone, what's our current defense status? Ma'am, we have 43 combat vessels available immediately. Another 27 can be ready within 12 hours. Our orbital platforms are online, but... She hesitated. But what, Admiral? Ma'am, based on Lieutenant Carter's intelligence, our weapons are not effective against their shield technology. We're fighting with knives against armor. Jake stepped forward. Mr. President, I recommend we activate all emergency protocols. This isn't a war, it's an extermination. On Earth, General Marcus Webb coordinated the planet's ground defenses, while massive Zephyrian ships appeared at the edge of the solar system. The crystal vessels moved like deadly dancers, their weapons reaching out to destroy anything human-made. The first orbital platform died in silence, its hull melting under alien energy beams. The second platform managed to fire its missiles, but the weapons exploded harmlessly against crystal shields. All defense stations fall back to Luna, Admiral Stone ordered. We can't protect the outer positions. Alex Carter worked at his tactical station, analyzing every piece of data they had gathered about the aliens. His young face was hard with concentration and anger. Captain, I think I found something, he said. Their shield harmonics fluctuate in a specific pattern. If we could time our attacks perfectly, what kind of weapons would we need? Jake asked. That's the problem, sir. We'd need something completely different from our current arsenal, something that could punch through their defenses. Dr. Lisa looked up from her translations. The intercepted communications mentioned something about resource collection schedules. They're planning to strip mine our colonies after they kill everyone. They want our worlds, Admiral Stone said quietly. They always wanted our worlds. The peace talks were just a way to study our defenses. President Martinez's voice returned. I'm authorizing the activation of classified military projects. All of them. Jake had heard rumors about secret weapons programs, projects that previous administrations had considered too dangerous or immoral to use. Project Hellfire, Project Ghostwalker, Project Reaper. Ma'am, are you certain? Admiral Stone asked. Admiral, they're killing our children. I'm certain. Dr. Kevin Walsh arrived at Luna Base within hours, carrying sealed files and a grim expression. The scientist had spent years developing fusion weapons that could crack asteroids in half. The Hellfire missiles will work, he told the assembled officers, but they're not precise weapons. Anything within 50 kilometers of the target will be vaporized. Colonel Amy Turner brought plans for stealth ships that could approach alien vessels undetected. Her Ghostwalker project had been shelved because the ships were too expensive and too dangerous for their crews. We can build 12 units immediately, she reported. They're essentially suicide missions. The pilots won't be coming back. General Morrison, Jake had been promoted after bringing back crucial intelligence, studied the plans with growing understanding. Humanity was preparing to fight dirty. What about ground forces? He asked. The aliens are landing troops on our colonies, General Webb reported from Earth. Crystal beings in powered armor. They're methodical, efficient, and completely ruthless. Alex Carter, now promoted to commander, presented his analysis of alien tactics. They're not warriors in the human sense. They're more like exterminators. They don't understand individual combat or guerrilla warfare. Then we teach them, Admiral Stone said coldly. The first human counterattack launched from Luna Base 48 hours after the initial alien assault. 12 Ghostwalker stealth ships, 30 modified cargo vessels loaded with Hellfire missiles and every combat ship Earth could spare. Their target was the Zephyrian staging area in the Wolf 359 system, where alien fleets gathered before moving deeper into human space. Admiral Stone commanded from the bridge of the UES Retribution, a hastily armed battleship that had been a peaceful exploration vessel just days before. Remember, she announced, to the fleet. These aliens showed our people no mercy. We will show them the same courtesy. The human ships dropped out of hyperspace in the middle of the alien formation. The Zephyrians had expected another easy victory, but instead found themselves facing an enemy that had learned to be vicious. Ghostwalker ships rammed into alien vessels, their crews dying to breach crystal shields. Hellfire missiles turned space into a blazing inferno that consumed everything nearby. Modified cargo ships used their industrial equipment as weapons, tearing alien hulls apart with mining lasers and construction tools. The battle lasted 6 hours and ended with the complete destruction of the Zephyrian fleet. But the victory came at a terrible cost. 2/3 of the human ships were destroyed. As the surviving vessels limped back toward Earth, Admiral Stone looked at the tactical reports. They had won, but barely. "This is what we have to become," she said quietly to Jake. "This is what they've forced us to become." Jake nodded, watching the debris field that had once been beautiful crystal ships. Somewhere in that wreckage were the remains of beings who had pretended to want peace while planning genocide. Humanity had learned to fight back. The question was whether they could learn to win. Commander Carter worked at his station, already planning the next attack. The young officer who had worried about alien intentions was gone, replaced by someone harder and more dangerous. "Sir," he reported, "I'm detecting alien reinforcements moving toward our outer colonies. Bigger fleets this time." Then we hit them. "Bigger too," Jake replied. The war had begun in earnest, and humanity was no longer the peaceful species that had sent diplomats to make friends among the stars. The video from Hope's End changed everything. Engineer Tony Blake's final transmission played on every screen across human space, showing crystal-armored aliens executing human civilians with cold precision. Children ran screaming through burning streets before energy beams cut them down. Families huddled in shelters, only to be dragged out and killed without mercy. President Claire Martinez watched the footage in her underground bunker beneath Washington. Her hands clenched into fists as she saw a Zephyrian soldier shoot a human mother who was trying to protect her baby. "How many people saw this?" she asked General Marcus Webb. "Everyone, ma'am. It's spreading through all communication networks. Our colonies, our military bases, even the neutral trading stations." "Good," Martinez said coldly. "I want everyone to see what we're fighting." The footage sparked something dark in humanity's heart. The peaceful species that had dreamed of joining a galactic community died in those burning images, replaced by something harder and more dangerous. Dr. Kevin Walsh worked around the clock in his secret laboratory, pushing fusion technology beyond all safety limits. Project Hellfire had been terrible enough, but now he was building something worse. "The new warheads will crack planets," he told General Jake Morrison during a classified briefing. "We're talking about weapons that could split moons in half." "How many can you build?" Jake asked. "As many as you need. The aliens want to take our worlds? Let them have radioactive rubble." Colonel Amy Turner's Ghostwalker project expanded rapidly. The original 12 stealth ships had been suicide missions, but the new designs included escape pods and better armor. Her pilots were volunteers who had lost families in the alien attacks. "We're not just building ships," she explained to Admiral Patricia Stone. "We're building ghosts. Ships that can appear anywhere, strike hard, and disappear before the aliens know what hit them." Commander Alex Carter led the most dangerous project of all. His Void Hunters were special operations teams that used captured alien technology to infiltrate enemy positions. They studied Zephyrian biology, learned their weaknesses, and turned their own weapons against them. "The aliens think like a collective," he reported to the War Council. "They don't understand individual initiative or unpredictable tactics. That's their weakness." The first major test came when Zephyrian reinforcements arrived at the Kepler 442 system. The alien fleet was twice the size of their previous forces, expecting to overwhelm any human resistance. Instead, they found something they didn't understand. Ghost. Walker ships appeared from nowhere, striking at the alien formation from 12 different directions simultaneously. Each stealth vessel carried a single Hellfire warhead and a crew willing to die to deliver it. The Zephyrians tried to adapt their formation, but human tactics made no sense to their collective thinking. One Ghost Walker would attack from above, while another struck from below. A third would ram into their command ship while a fourth targeted their supply vessels. "They're fighting like madmen," the alien commanders reported to each other in their musical language. Dr. Lisa Park, now working as Director of Xenological Warfare, intercepted these transmissions. She had turned her language skills toward psychological operations, broadcasting propaganda in perfect Zephyrian to break their morale. "You came to our worlds expecting easy prey." Her voice sang through space in alien harmonies. Instead, you found predators. The battle at Kepler 442 lasted 14 hours. When it ended, the entire Zephyrian reinforcement fleet was destroyed. The human cost was severe. 8 Ghostwalker ships and their crews were lost, but the message was clear. Humanity was learning to fight back with a vengeance. Commander Carter's Void Hunters conducted their first deep strike mission 3 weeks later. Using a captured Zephyrian transport, his team infiltrated an alien supply base in the Ross 128 system. The aliens had converted a human mining station into a logistics hub, using human prisoners as slave labor. Carter's team moved through the facility like deadly shadows, eliminating guards and gathering intelligence. The prisoners are being worked to death, Carter reported through encrypted channels. The aliens see them as temporary resources, nothing more. His team planted fusion charges throughout the facility and rescued 47 human survivors. When the base exploded, it took 3 Zephyrian supply ships with it. But the real victory was the intelligence they gathered. Carter's team downloaded alien fleet movements, weapon specifications, and most importantly, the location of their command center. General Morrison studied the data with growing excitement. The aliens were not invincible. They had weaknesses, and humanity was learning to exploit them. Their command structure is completely centralized, he explained to President Martinez. Every major decision goes through their home system. If we could strike there, what would you need? The president asked. Everything we have. Every ship. Every weapon. Every pilot willing to make the ultimate sacrifice. The human fleet that assembled at Luna Base was unlike anything Earth had ever built. Converted civilian ships bristled with weapons that violated every treaty humanity had signed with itself. Mining vessels carried kinetic bombardment systems. Exploration cruisers had been fitted with electronic warfare equipment that could hack alien systems from light years away. Admiral Stone walked through the docking bays, inspecting ships that would have horrified the peaceful species humanity used to be. The UES Vengeance, her new flagship, was armed with weapons designed to crack asteroids and shields that could withstand direct hits from stellar plasma. How many ships do we have? She asked her aide. 237 combat vessels, ma'am, plus another 150 support ships. And how many are we likely to bring home? The aide was quiet for a moment. Intelligence estimates suggest 30% casualties, ma'am, maybe 40. Stone nodded grimly. Acceptable losses. Dr. Lisa's psychological warfare broadcasts had been having an effect. Intercepted alien communications showed growing unrest in their ranks. Some Zephyrian vessels had simply stopped responding to orders. They're starting to question this war, she reported. Our messages about human determination are making them afraid. Alex Carter's intelligence networks provided detailed maps of the Zephyrian home system. The crystal beings lived on a planet that pulsed with the same inner light as their ships, surrounded by massive orbital stations and defensive platforms. It's going to be the biggest space battle in human history, he told Jake. Win or lose, this ends it. Jake looked at the tactical displays showing alien defensive positions. The peaceful captain who had commanded a diplomatic mission was gone, replaced by a general who understood that sometimes the only way to preserve civilization was to become uncivilized. Begin final preparations, he ordered. All ships, all crews. We launch in 72 hours. The human fleet would carry with it the fury of an entire species that had been betrayed, attacked, and nearly exterminated. The aliens had taught humanity what fire meant by trying to burn their worlds. Now humanity would return the lesson with interest. In the depths of space, Zephyrian commanders detected the massive human fleet movement. They prepared their own forces, confident that their superior technology would prevail. They had learned about human diplomatic skills, scientific achievements, and cultural expressions. They had studied human military tactics and defensive capabilities. What they had never learned was what happened when humans stopped trying to be civilized. The largest human fleet in history dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Zephyrian home system. 237 warships spread across space like an angry swarm, their hulls scarred from months of brutal warfare. General Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Vengeance. watching the crystal planet that pulsed with alien light. 6 months ago he had been a peaceful captain, hoping to make friends with unknown beings. Now he commanded humanity's final assault against an enemy that had tried to exterminate his species. "All ships report ready, sir," Commander Alex Carter announced from his tactical station. The young officer who had once worried about alien intentions now coordinated humanity's deadliest weapons with cold efficiency. Admiral Patricia Stone's voice crackled through the fleet communications. "This is Admiral Stone to all vessels. Today, we finish what they started. Show them what humans do to those who threaten our children." The Zephyrian defenders moved to intercept them. Massive crystal ships emerged from behind the planet's 3 moons, their surfaces blazing with internal light. Orbital platforms the size of cities powered up weapons that could boil oceans. "Enemy fleet strength?" Jake asked. 400 ships, sir, plus orbital defenses. They outnumber us 2 to 1. Jake smiled grimly. Then the odds are almost fair. The battle began with a coordinated strike by Ghostwalker stealth ships. 30 invisible vessels penetrated the alien formation, each one carrying experimental weapons that turned Zephyrian shields against themselves. The first alien command ship exploded in a cascade of crystal fragments that reflected the light of its dying companions. The second tried to retreat, but found itself surrounded by human vessels that fought with tactics no sane military would approve. Dr. Lisa Park's psychological warfare broadcasts filled the alien communication channels with messages designed to break their collective thinking. Her voice sang in perfect Zephyrian harmonies, but the words carried pure human fury. "You wanted to study us," she broadcast. "You wanted to understand what humans are. Look around you. This is what we are when you threaten our families." Converted mining ships used their industrial equipment as weapons, tearing alien hulls apart with tools designed to crack asteroids. Exploration vessels deployed electronic warfare systems that turned alien point defense against their own fleets. The UES Retribution, Admiral Stone's flagship, led a direct assault on the largest orbital platform. The massive station's weapons could destroy entire fleets, but human tactics had evolved beyond anything the aliens understood. "All ships ramming speed," Stone ordered. 20 human vessels accelerated toward the platform, while others provided covering fire. Half of them died in the approach, but the survivors crashed into the crystal structure with fusion warheads that turned its own power systems into a devastating explosion. Commander Carter's Void Hunters had infiltrated the planet's surface weeks earlier, using captured alien technology to penetrate their deepest command centers. His team moved through crystal corridors like deadly ghosts, eliminating guards and planting charges in critical systems. "Phase 2 complete," Carter reported from deep underground. "Their planetary defense grid is compromised." Jake watched the tactical display as human forces systematically dismantled alien defenses. Each victory cost them ships and lives, but humanity had learned to accept casualties in ways that horrified their enemies. The Zephyrians tried to adapt their formation, but human warfare made no sense to their collective minds. Individual ships acted independently, sacrificing themselves for tactical advantages that served the larger battle. "They're breaking formation," Alex reported. "The alien fleet is fragmenting." Through the chaos of battle, a single Zephyrian ship approached under a white flag. The universal symbol for surrender had been transmitted on all frequencies. "This is Harmony Singer," came the familiar musical voice. "We request immediate cessation of hostilities." Jake's expression darkened. This was the being that had orchestrated humanity's betrayal, that had smiled while planning the extermination of entire worlds. "This is General Morrison. You have 1 minute to explain why I shouldn't blow you out of space. We wish to negotiate terms of surrender. The collective acknowledges that continued conflict serves no purpose. Now you want to negotiate?" Jake's voice carried the weight of every human who had died in alien attacks. "Where was this reasonableness when you were glassing our colonies? We underestimated your species. Your individual thinking patterns are unpredictable. We cannot counter tactics we cannot understand." Admiral Stone's voice cut into the transmission. "General Morrison, We're detecting massive power buildups across their remaining fleet. This might be a trap. Alex Carter checked his sensors and shook his head. Negative, Admiral. They're powering down weapons and shields. The surrender appears genuine. Commander Carter's team had reached the planet's core command center, where alien leaders coordinated their entire military. He found Harmony Singer's true form, not the elegant crystal being from the space station, but a massive collective mind housed in a chamber filled with pulsing light. Interesting, Carter said into his communicator. Their whole species thinks as one giant brain. No wonder they can't understand human independence. Jake made his decision. Harmony Singer, you will order the immediate withdrawal of all Zephyrian forces from human space. You will provide reparations for the colonies you destroyed, and you will never, ever contact humanity again. These terms are acceptable. But what assurance do we have that you will honor the agreement? The same assurance you gave us during our peace talks. The silence that followed spoke volumes. However, Jake continued, I'm not the same fool who trusted you before. Commander Carter, proceed with the insurance policy. Deep in the alien command center, Carter's team activated devices that would monitor Zephyrian communications and fleet movements. If the aliens ever moved against humanity again, early warning systems would detect them long before they reached human space. The battle ended with the complete surrender of the Zephyrian collective. Alien ships limped away from their devastated home system while human vessels maintained defensive positions. But victory came at a price that changed humanity forever. The species that had once dreamed of peaceful exploration among the stars had become something harder, colder, and infinitely more dangerous. President Martinez addressed the human survivors from Earth's rebuilt capital. We have won this war, but we must never forget its lessons. Peace is a luxury that must be earned and defended. Those who mistake our kindness for weakness do so at their own peril. Jake stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking out at the eye. Stars that no longer seemed friendly and welcoming. The diplomatic mission that had started this nightmare felt like ancient history. Sir, Alex said quietly, what happens now? Now we rebuild. We remember. And we make sure this never happens again. The galaxy would remember this war not as the day aliens tried to destroy humanity, but as the day humanity taught the universe what fire truly means. And in the depths of space, other alien species watched the human fleet return home and made careful notes about the dangers of underestimating the small blue world and its fierce children. The age of human innocence was over. The age of human strength had begun.